on our buses, and the bus ID badges for the students for taking the attendance. Anything that we can do, it's digitally, and makes it easier for everybody. And the way, if you do one thing in Route Finder, that information automatically transfers over to Viewfinder, Wayfinder, Stop Finder. They all work together seamlessly, and the more we can have that, that makes all of our jobs more efficient, and we can help get a bigger return of investment for us as we're doing things on a daily basis.
Very good. And Michael, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think the class or whatever I enjoyed the most actually wasn't really a class, but it was my half-hour session with a software specialist that we had. Transfinder is always great about helping us out. We've got, had great service from that, but there's nothing better than be able to see a person face to face, talk to them, and they show you. At least for me, I learn a lot better that way, and it really helped me out with the questions that I brought forward. I was able to walk away with all the answers I needed. So that's great. And just being around different transportation people, we all know what we're going through. So it's nice to hear some different points of view or things maybe that somebody's doing, and you go, oh, why aren't we doing that? So that's what I've taken so far.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to say that you don't have an aha moment as well. Do you have an aha moment?
I have tons, of course. And yesterday, guest speaker was great. The way he talked about coaching and so forth. I mean, that's a whole nother level. But yeah, he was great. But one of the aha moment, actually, I got one this morning at 7 a.m. when we, I thought yesterday morning that was a joke, April Fools, get downstairs at 7 a.m. Like, all right, I'll be down. But today someone asked that they used to have pro and they went to plus, and it's like, man, I wish you guys had a glossary term, like you used to call something before, now it's different. And I thought about it, like we didn't intentionally rename things. We did it we did it intentionally. We talked about the routing map before. You guys used to have Route Finder Pro. It was called routing map. The routing map was just, you could only do routing. That's all you could do. Now you open up the routing palette in a map canvas, and wow. So it almost been horrible to call it the routing map. So it was intentional. Some things we rebranded just to be fun, but that was aha moments. Like, wait a minute, we actually intentionally renamed it because it's more than that. Yes. Map viewer palette, holy cow. There's unlimited amount of things you could do with map viewer palette. So yeah, I mean, aha moment, I get them every time I meet you guys.
That's great. Thank you, Tony. Now I'll turn it over to the audience. Anybody have an aha over here? Give her the mic. Gotta be ready. I talk about like this is like an auction, and if you just wait a little, I'm gonna call you.
Don't wave across this.
In the class, we're showing using the they typed in a trip ID, and it popped up, and it was like the map payment popped up, the routing count popped up. It was like, we take the time to open the map canvas, open the routing palette, search for trip ID. All we can do is type it there, pop it up. Like, that was amazing, time saver, and definitely worth hearing about that.
Saved like 20 clicks. I just learned that too. We were like, what? That was my second aha.
I feel like the whole room went, what? Like the whole room.
Why weren't we showed this before?
It was 7 or 8 steps before.
So anybody else with an aha moment? Over here.
So we started working with a contractor 5 years ago, and we had Transfinder prior to that, and we insisted they use Transfinder. But they brought in some of their own systems that they had, and we've tried to merge them, and it's gone okay. But I've been trying to find a way to bring in Wayfinder. And I think this going to the classes, doing everything that I did this week, I have the information that I need. And I actually talked to my sales account manager about a pilot, maybe to help us with summer school when we have a very limited number of students to look at what we're doing. But I think I have what I need to convince the contractor and my superintendent that the contract's coming up in 2 years. I think I have what I need to talk to them about it and be effective this time.
Oh, that's great. And I like the fact that we help, like, embolden you, that you feel confident that you can speak authoritatively about it. So, and if you ever need help with that kind of stuff too, you know who to go to. All right. Anybody? Yes. Oh, back here. I'm sorry. Zach, can you get it? Thank you.
We have Transfinder, and it's been sold most of my first navigation, right, from Civics navigation. But when I was sitting in the classroom hearing how other people are struggling to get it, like from the districts, we use it so much for student information. It has been a godsend for medical information. We've developed emojis to show kids on the bus that have t-shirts, they're on oxygen, all kinds of great uses for it. And I think maybe you'll get a little more buy-in if it's student safety related, than a way to help the drivers. Wanted to share that perspective.
Very good. Any others?
I wanna-
Yeah, right over here. And go ahead. You got something you want to add?
I was going to piggyback on what she had to say about what the Wayfinder, just having those little emojis that lets people know about different allergies and seizures and things like that. That puts information into the driver's hands they really didn't have in the past. And implementing with Wayfinder and the bus ID badges actually has helped our stop finder usage goes up, because we were only at 9% stop finder usage after 3 years. And we just added a simple QR code to the back of our bus ID badge, and now we're almost at 60% usage with stop finder.
And you went from what, 3%?
From 9%
Oh,
to
9%.
60%
You
in
know, I
1
think-
year.
I think as the time went by, I kind of like, the fish stories. I've told you a story, but I think I said that you went from 3% to 75% in like, oh, dang.
I'll take it.
Okay, I didn't quite do that. but-
And to add on just a little bit about what you're saying with Wayfinder, it took all of the manual work for us out of Medicaid reporting by using the emojis, by using disability codes. And we actually are claiming much higher on Medicaid than we were before using the software.
Perfect. Over here.
And I just want to add that when we first changed over to Transfinder, it was 16 years ago.
Wow.
And it was just everybody was on board. They were there to help. Anything we needed, they were there to help. You can call anybody, they'll help. So that's why a lot of people say that, well, you know everybody, because I maybe talked to everybody on the team. We came in February, and we had the school start up in August.
Wow.
So we was boots on the ground
Yep.
for us, and we started really getting everything together in the end of April, and we were ready for school start. So I can remember the days when we got that award for being top transportation team, and it was just that everybody was there, and anything that we asked for that was different or that we had in pro, it was like, hey Tony, the sequence, I need the sequence over here. And they'll work on it, they'll get back with you, and they'll make it happen. Anything that you need, they'll make it happen. So, and they always call and check up on you, and I just love that about it.
That is awesome.
What about, so a lot of people wanted the way the modified path. So we initially thought like, modified path is so tedious to just to click to modify the path. So like Google doesn't do it that way. They just dragged. We got so many people saying, can you get it back like you used to do? So if you guys have experimented now that have features that
Yeah,
you could actually use like the old fashioned modified path. Are you using that?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
not to drag the path, if you
No.
right?
Just click.
Yes, I know that's the same thing. Like, can you bring that back? Like, bring that back? Why do you want that? So yes. So
Yeah.
thank you for your
It's
input
easy.
on that too.
Thank you.
Anybody else have aha over here at the very end? So, one of the things that I think that I want to talk about next, just to get you thinking, is there anything that changed your mind? You came in with one mindset and you changed your mind a little bit after it, but I'm just going to give you a little heads up on that. Go ahead. What's your aha moment?
I actually have two aha moments. So good morning. My name is Kathy Munoz from Idea Public Schools, and I'm an applications manager. So my first aha moment was the hands-on classes. I took 2 for map editing. So I like the fact that we had rows of tables with laptops, and not only was it just like a PowerPoint presentation, but they had us with our own username, with our own password. Everything was so unique, and we were just following the instructor. My second aha moment, I believe you mentioned about Wayfinder. I did the ride along session yesterday, And so we also use Wayfinder back at home in Texas. I don't know what the icon is called, but I call it the Google Maps icon. And so I noticed whenever we had map edits, this Google Map icon had an exclamation mark. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to touch it because I don't want to mess with the system. Well, I found out yesterday that Google Map icon with the exclamation mark, if you click on that, the driver is able to report if there's a collision, if there's construction. You have several other icons on there that you can notify. And if you have another driver that just happens to pass by through that same location, they're going to get like a push pop-up notification. Hey, let's just say driver 1 reported a collision. Is that collision still there? Yes or no? So that was my 2 takeaways.
That's our map. Though.
Well, let me tell you about that. By the way, that icon is called map incident. So you're reporting map incidents. And I think I've told the story multiple times and how that became about. As, by the way, I've driven hundreds, maybe thousands of miles with my wife driving, and I'm in the back seat. My son is using RFID cards. We're just testing. But I've actually done tens, thousands of miles navigating at my desk because you could do that. And so we were at a client's site a couple of years ago, and by the way, I'm an awesome mount. You know, I'm great mount. You know, it's
his arm is what he's
my arm, right? So the normal driver is driving, the director is there, and I'm holding the tablet, right? Because they're doing the real, I mean, hey, let's go. Let's pick a trip, let's go. So the driver, so we got to a certain stop, and the director said, why we're stopping like this? I know, I've been meaning to tell the routers that. So like, so I was not prepared. I'm holding the thing like, well, can someone take notes of this stop? Like, yeah, well, I'll just remember. We're driving around, we get to another stop. He goes, why we do it this way? Oh, I know, I've been meaning to tell the router that. And I don't know if you guys saw it during the glimpse on because we track all the map incidents. 50% of the map incidents is called bus stop review, which means you get to that stop, the driver clicks on it, and that's it. Now you're gonna go, hey, what was that about? Oh man, thanks for reminding me. There is an issue I want to talk about, stop number 4. And it just came out because of that. But again, of course, if you use Waze, you know, you could report a lot of things. And so, yeah, really nice stuff. So thank you.
Alyssa, what's your aha moment? I don't, before I move to the next segment, I'm looking at you because I know that this person always has multiple ahas.
I'm not the biggest district here. And what I love is that I can come in with what I think is a pretty strong database and still learn more, still grow. I was in the session with the opening up the router right from the quick finder, and I'm like, wait, I mean, there's applause happening. So what I love is that the software is complex enough to take all of our information from the smallest district to the biggest, but we also, I'm like, there's so much more to keep growing. So I mean, my biggest aha is I'm not done yet with my database. I can clean it up and make it even more efficient, and that will never end. I think that's the really cool part. This is real live data. These are people making things happen. So I think that was my biggest aha, is we're still moving forward on that. The only other one I would like to add is I was so pleased that there is a Route Finder Plus certification exam, and I took that and I thought, uh-oh, I'm either going to fail miserably or I'm going to really be able to show my skills, and I have a pin.
Woo!
Congratulations.
All right. All right.
And there's other pins in the room, and it was really empowering. I'm going to be able to take that back to my district.
Those are in a vault, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't even like steal one.
And you know, and then now I'm like, what one did I get wrong? Because I know it was just like one. I'm going to find it. And I'm like, I'm going to master that.
I love it.
I think we have, Zach, how many of these certifications? 6 now? And so the team had a goal, at least the service team, to be all certified by, I think, February 1st of, was it last year we did this big push, like get it certified. Come on, let's do it. Man, there's some people, and of course, if you get emails from some of them, it'll say right on the bottom what they're certified in. Do you guys ever notice that? And now I'm noticing some of you guys sending emails like, I'm certified. They put that logo. So make sure you get that logo. That way you can put in your
I'm
email signature.
certifiable, I've been told, but that's.
You're
another story.
certifiable?
Certifiable, that's it. All right, so let's talk about, unless anybody else really wants to get to their aha moment. You got an aha moment you really want to share? You're looking at me like, oh, okay. All right. Anybody had their mind changed at all? You went in, hopefully I'm looking for positive mind changes just to kind of like grease the skids here a little bit. But something like I did not think I wanted to go this route, and now, no pun intended there. And then now I think we want to embrace that. I'm going to start with the panel first. So Sandy, go ahead. You got something where your mind changed a little bit?
Well, I'm still going a little back and forth, but it's between map edits and travel scenarios. There's a lot that I didn't realize travel scenarios probably was the better solution than me making a map edit. So just came out of that class, so still trying to process some of that because I'm still stuck on just type in your route number and it opens it up in the routing map. But I think that I'm underutilizing travel scenarios.
Okay, great, very good, thank you. Marilyn, how about you?
So it actually happened now. I hadn't really been attending any of the Wayfinder stuff because we aren't really trying to tackle anything new right now. But as everybody was talking about being able to put icons on and do all of these capabilities, I'm looking at the possibility of like maybe not doing the whole fleet because we have over 200 buses, but focusing very much on our special needs as well as our McKinney-Vento students. Having that capability could be game changing for our district. So it really happened right now, which is really cool.
That is really cool. And one of the things we love about like both the webinars and also ACS is how much just rubbing shoulders with colleagues and hearing other people's stories. Like, okay, there's, you know, it can change our minds. Tony, you look like you were going to say something. No? Okay, Sherman, go ahead.
Oh, I don't really have a mind change moment, to be honest. I came in, I'm spoiled. I'm kind of biased. I came in on Plus. So I don't know about Pro. I don't know about any other system prior to that. Some of you switched from one system to it and came over to Transfinder. I've been Plus since I got here. I've been here a year. So that's all I know is Plus. And so I was sold when I got here. I'm even more sold now because there's so much more that we can do with this program. So
that's awesome. Very good. No, that's great. That's a good bias. All right, over here, Jay.
For me, it's just the overall efficiencies of how all the different programs, you know, Stop Finder, Trip Finder, Route Finder, all seamlessly work together. It makes our jobs more efficiently. And Form Finder is one of the things that we use. We have a couple, like, you know, latchkeys for our students and one for reporting incidents and things like that. So I'm thinking I want to dive into Form Finder a lot more and just how can we get things out to our students and our teachers, everybody else in the district, not just at transportation, but utilize it to help with our parents and our families and teaching staff. So that's one thing.
So getting it outside of transportation.
Yeah, like we use like, you know, Google Forms and we make questionnaires and things like that. But I learned we can actually do those inside of Form Finder to where, I mean, we're going to be able to utilize the programs we're already paying for and get more out of them.
It's secure, correct, Tony? Tell us like the benefits of.
So the benefits of right now we're adding someone, you literally could send a parent a unique URL that only has bought their kids. So then that they could actually make changes, or you don't have to make changes. You can say, hey, this is where, you know, some comments or, you know, nothing's wrong with how we're doing the service. You know, that you guys get, you know, those type of surveys all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. How are we doing? How's our service doing? And those are things that you could attach to parents. You could attach them to your staff. You could even attach incidents to your bus, of course. But I think Form Finder is, I hope you guys do this when you go back. And I said that a couple days ago, because we're doing a lot of things now with law enforcement. It's the whole thing about handle with care. Do you guys remember I said that? And though, for people that didn't hear or for our audience, handle with care is this simple concept, horrible situation, unfortunately. A law enforcement, a police officer gets dispatched to a house. You know, there's a team of men and women there. Maybe it's a domestic issue. An individual gets arrested, and little Tony is witnessing all this stuff in front of their eyes. And it can mess somebody up. You're 10 years old. You know, it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. There's a lot of stuff going on. Police is in the house and someone's getting arrested, right? This could be rough. Well, we recommend, and there's actually a lot of people trying to do this, is that send a quick form to the school district, use Form Finder. It's part of what you have. That way they could just, maybe they don't know the exact name. They could maybe describe the kid. All I know is Tony. But let it go to the principal or whatever. That way they could say, oh, I know that kid. Well, let's handle that kid with a lot more care when they walk in the door. I highly recommend you guys just do that simple form, talk to the police chief in your area, and you want that. This is a good thing for these kids.
You know, so
All right.
following up on what Tony
And
said.
I'm going to make sure you guys do it. I mean it.
He's going to visit every one of your districts.
That's right.
So, you know, going to what Tony said and Jay, what you just said as well, I think, you know, as you are looking to find ways to expand your, really your authority within the district, because I think I hear often that sometimes that transportation can sometimes get overlooked. Do you guys ever feel that way? Like everybody, even though you're the ones that are getting the act, like they don't learn anything. I was gonna say they don't learn nothing, but that was really bad grammar, poor grammar. But they don't learn anything if they don't get to school, right? So, but if you want to increase your influence, if you are bringing Form Finder, that's your, maybe that's your Trojan horse. That's probably not a great example, but that's your Trojan horse into the, is that bad? But, you know, to get in, you have a seat at the table with the superintendent or the assistant superintendent and talking about, hey, look, we are already paying for this. It's secure. Google Docs is not secure, you know, and so the other thing is that you can use that for surveys. You can use that for so many other things. And so it's like you already own it, like you said, Jay. You already own it. And doesn't everybody want to squeeze every drop of value out of things? I mean, you know, Alyssa mentioned it earlier. You want to squeeze every drop. So say, hey, look at it. And so, and then, you know, we talked about, Tony, you haven't talked about this as much lately, but like the discipline. Tommy is not acting properly, or I didn't say Tony this, you know, Tommy's not acting appropriate on the bus. Actually, it'd be Ricky, because I got in trouble on the bus all the time. That's because I had an hour-and-a-half bus ride. Did you know that? Each way.
Both
Tony
ways.
is so
Uphill
tired
too?
of hearing.
Was that uphill both sides?
It wasn't uphill both ways, but anyway, so if you find out like, you know, this child does not usually get in trouble, and we're seeing 3 days of it, and there's a discipline form, and they can go to the teacher. So they can say, hey, look at, just letting you know, little Ricky had an issue on the bus. Now the teacher can know, you know, and say, okay, maybe we need to handle, maybe there's something going on and we can just be on the alert. How valuable, so I'm asking you guys, I guess, is there a way to be proactive? And then do I have ulterior motives? Yes. Then when you say, you know what, we want to go to ACS next year. Well, you know what? I can see that we're getting the most out of it. We're going to get the most out we can out of the software. You're bringing them in instead of it being, you don't want to be, you know, what do they talk about? Silos. You don't really want to be siloed. That's not a good, that could not be a good thing. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Anybody else? Anybody in the, yes, go ahead, Alyssa. Hang on one second, let me get the mic. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in my district, it is a tough budget year, and they said, what do you need out of the package for Transfinder? But at the same token, they're saying, oh, the parents really want to know where the bus is. Well, guess what? We're gonna push that out a lot sooner. And maybe my motive is, yes, get more users, because then those parents are going to be the one to say, please don't take away the software. So the more users I have buying in using the software, the better it is. And then the features in it to help the parents that don't quite understand how to do boundaries around their daycares and stuff. But all of that is just a really big way to go back and sell of, this is a tool we're using and please don't take away my tools.
Right. And it's all about, again, what is it about? The safety of the kids, right? And the efficiencies. Anybody else had their mind changed at all? Something that you thought, you know, I don't know about two-way communication on Stop Finder, going, oh, you know what, maybe that's probably, could be a good idea. Anything else stand out for anybody? No? Okay. Moving on. Anybody have some, what's your thought in terms of when you get back to the, so, you know, I remember like, you know, you go to a retreat or something and you have that high, right? You feel like really good. And then you go home and then it's like, how much of that do I remember? And then also, is there anything that you can say like right now, I want to implement this right now. We need to do this right now. Or it's kind of a twofold question. Something you know you want to do right away. Something you know that Sandy's already, you guys should have seen Sandy. If that was a quick draw McGraw, but it was with the mic. So go ahead.
So whenever I come, it's very overwhelming with information. You learn so much, and what can you take home? What can you implement? So I come always with the mindset of I need to take home 3 ahas and 3 game changers. So we're so tired when it's done. We get home and it's like, and then we have to go catch up on a week's worth of work and all of that. So I've had to really learn how to communicate with myself, not to let something go. But I come into this learning so much and just collaboration and everything. But I leave knowing I want to have 3 ahas and 3 game changers to go home to, because we cannot take everything home and change it like we want to, because we're all overachievers.
And just even changing one thing could have a ripple effect, a significant ripple effect, right? Just changing how you do one thing. So does anybody have any Tony?
Well, let me tell you our software development process. We switched to this many years ago. They're called sprints. And they're sprints, so they're 2-week sprints. So we have about 15, 16 teams, I think. I forgot how many teams. And each team consists of maybe 6, 7 developers and maybe 2 QA people. That's the teams other. And so each team, they could be working on Plus or Service Finder. I mean, all the products. So they're all being worked on any given moment. But they're 2-week sprints, which means they're going to work on very specific things. They're sprints. We have stand-up meetings every single day on like what are the obstacles, what is an impedance that we got to get rid of. But it's every day for 2 weeks, 5 minutes, that's it, and get back to work. We changed to this because every 2 weeks you got something accomplished. What a feeling. Because if you got some of these big audacious goals, it might take you months to get it done. Recommend, can you get it done in 2 weeks? By the way, 2 weeks, that's not a lot of time, but pick a small thing. What happens, like what a confidence booster. So we did it in development, and that's been our methodology for a long time.
I like that.
So just want to let you know. And I think even the coach said that yesterday about small things. Don't make these huge goals, small wins, right? I think he said that yesterday.
Yes. Anybody have anything? Go ahead, Jay.
For me, it's going to be, I took the class Dazzling Dashboards. We have so much data. That's one thing I love about Transfinder. The data is there. But if we don't utilize the data that's being saved, it's kind of pointless, But with Dazzling Dashboards, I'm going to take this back to Bonnie, our trip secretary. She's always wondering how many trips do I have today? How many do I have to coming up? And Dazzling Dashboards is so customizable. You can make it to work for whatever you need to track, tracking mileage, tracking student attendance, but we can really take that and utilize that more. It's going to help our efficiencies overall. A quick glance, the data's there. We just need to use it, and Dazzling Dashboards is really going to help us be able to do that.
Awesome. Anybody else have something you can know right away?
I do have one real quick thing.
Yeah.
222. Okay, it's on. One thing that I learned this weekend was, we have a very young team where I'm at in Garland, and everybody's like a kid who wants to, we're not afraid to try things. We're not afraid to be nosy. What does this button do? What does that button do? But what I learned over the weekend was, as long as you don't save it, no problem. Just play around with it. Just don't hit the save. Play around with it. Learn how something works. Just don't hit the save button afterwards. And I think that's key, because there's so much to do. The big word here is customizable. This Transfinder is so customizable. There's so much you can do that we don't know. And just like you get a new phone and you play around with all the different things on it, same thing with this. Play around with it. Learn how to do it. Just don't hit the save button. So people are afraid they're going to mess something up. Just don't hit the save button.
Create a new data source
and
playground.
Create a new data source.
Yeah, we have a lot of playground.
We have a data source called Sandbox. That we go into in there and try and we'll copy our current database into Sandbox, and we go in there and change things, move them around. Our brand new secretary who's learning how to use our product, she goes in there and tries everything, and that doesn't affect your current data source. So it's a great tool.
And if they make something amazing in the Sandbox, you can always go move it to your production database too. You can go copy it over there. So You find out it works, why recreate it? Just go move it.
That's great. Go ahead.
So I'm actually really excited to use the software to be more proactive versus reactive. So in the sense of the travel scenarios. So in my area, we had a massive flood during Hurricane Ida, and it caused a lot of infrastructure damage in bridges. So PennDOT's been slowly coming in and replacing these bridges, which are major arteries in my district. So what's really great is they've been very good about telling us when the anticipated closures are. But now, while I'm, quote, you know what I'm saying, slower, and I'm not as busy, I can create those travel scenarios, and then once the date comes, I can actually just implement it right there with mass update on all the routes that's going to affect. So that capability is going to be a game changer for us to be proactive versus reactive.
Can I ask, do you have Stop Finder?
I do not.
Okay, so we got to change that, and then I'll start talking to you. No, I'm just kidding. So you made me think of something, and then we'll go over here. During the building bridges, that goes nicely with your bridges and stuff, about communications, our ambassador of the year, Cody, mentioned how he presets his Stop Finder messages. Now, some of them are simple, like Merry Christmas. He goes, we go to the calendar, we get all the stuff that we know are gonna, when there's gonna be spring break. We talk about, like, he'll preset like a day or two before spring break's coming to a close and say, just a reminder, we can't wait to, not just a reminder, but it's usually like positive. Can't wait to see your kids again. Those are things that make your parents feel good. They really do. So he presets all those things. You could do that as you're proactive. You could say, this bridge is going to be out, or whatever it may be that things that you could proactively be informing. And the thing is, the more you can tell your parent, again, we talk about over communicating, and sometimes there can be too much over communicating, right? But some things, if you know it, you can, set expectations early on, and they go, oh, no, you didn't, oh, you don't have the app. That's why you didn't know about the bridge.
And with today's technology, parents are anticipating us to be ahead of the game. They're expecting us to be ahead of the cell phone calls and, the kids coming home. Like, they want us to be ahead of all of that. And if we're not, the bar is just so high now with our capabilities. So
over here.
I got a lot out of the merging emails.
Definitely.
That's going to be used with the forms. At the same time, because some people use different things. And we are one of the districts, kind of larger district. We use changing over data every week. So I have a new data set for each week that I can go back, and I only let them see the database that is changing for that next week and the database that was last week. So they can't see anything that I'm working in presently. So I also take the database and change it up to changing my boundaries to work on a project, anything that I need to do. And I call it, this is whatever project I'm working on, or rechanging the boundaries for 25, 26, or 26, 27, because we made a 5-year, plan. So I have different data sets. And for someone who's new, this is the playground. You can go in there and change it to whatever you need to change it, however you need to work in it to get to where you need to be. So it's just a extraordinary thing that we can have all this data, because when I end the year, I have end of the school year of 25, 26, beginning of the school year, 25, 26, all the way before, from where we started. So I can go back and tell you how long ago when we started with Transfinder that we had in 16, 17 when it first came in, and how many students we transported, the routes that we had, everything. I can go back from there and just type it in and it'll come up. So it's just extraordinary that I can come and I can make forms now for the students in the area where the drivers say they ride, but they don't ride. And I need the larger buses for in other areas. So instead of me going out to the site to see who's actually riding the bus, I can send the form to the parents and they can tell me that their kids don't ride.
Yeah, the word, that was awesome, by the way. Thank you. The word I keep hearing over and over again is data. I hear it over and over again. It is Tony at the top. Tony's a very data-driven person. You make informed decisions based on data, not just gut. Gut instinct can confirm, you guys are now pros. So there are some things you may have a gut instinct on, but it's a lot better when you have the data to support it. And then it's actionable data. So I keep hearing that. So anyway, I just wanted to and then it's the access to the data. just having the data. We've talked about brand X and brand Y, right? Make it data, but man, it is really cumbersome to get it. It is not user friendly. It is not actionable.
And it's also intentional. Some companies intentionally don't want you to export it out because if you could easily export it out of that system, you could bring it into a brand new one. And that's the fact. We know that. It's intentional. You close it up that way. Now you're stuck. And if you ever want to leave, you're going to not have any history. And so you get stuck. We thought, hey, that's not the reason why we should, if clients want to leave us, it's not because of that. It's because we did something silly. And so obviously we have to earn your business every single day, every single week, every single year. But our system is wide open. You could take the system, and I think our competitors know exactly how to just peel data right off of it, and they're up and running in 2 weeks. But it's okay. So what?
Good point, Tony. Sandy.
So I just wanted to mention a lot of people are having trouble getting money from their school boards and from their districts and stuff. And everything is changing over to data-driven decision making. And there's so much you can pull out analytics and everything in there that it does make it a little easier to take to your boards and take to your administration and say, look, here it is. Jay, you can pull out your little bus pass again. This is something we're stealing, going from 9% to whatever, just by a QR code that he has on this bus pass. But I do think when you start presenting based on data, and because it is available to us, the analytics through dashboards, all of that, it's much easier to go to your boards and go to your administration and say, this is why.
Yeah, and to go back to what Tony said, like, yes, a company could come and peel off that stuff and create something in 2 weeks, but there's something to be said for my colleagues around me all have Transfinder. So I'm able to collaborate with them more fluidly. I'm able to bounce ideas off of them. We're able to go back and forth and understand like what each other are going through. It's just a much more seamless relationship that I have with the people surrounding me.
We do believe, actually, that's a really insightful. No wonder you're the supervisor. Yeah, so, because you create a critical mass like that, and then you are a support system. I don't mean support like kumbaya, but like I was like, how do you, exactly? And how do you do this? Oh, well, this is what we do. Because while every district we know is different, there are some things that may be some similarities, especially if they're to your neighboring district. I want to turn to Kayla for a second. Did an interview with Kayla earlier this week, and she talked about being able to see the routes that had been like in a previous person's like head, right? But then you were able to map it out. And what did you see, Kayla? Oh, can someone, I'm sorry, I didn't get a mic to you, Kayla. Tell me what you saw and then what you did as a result. And it kind of lines up with what Sandy said about being able to report that to a superintendent to see why you use software. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I came to the Lewiston district, they were routing with Google Sheets because they had not got it moved into Transfinder yet. And when we pulled it up on Transfinder, the buses were literally doing circles on top of each other. The buses were going into districts that they did not belong. The district had no idea how many students were not going out of district. We have been able to alleviate that, which saves our district a ton of money, miles. We have definitely saved more than we have paid in Transfinder easily. So it's definitely been worth it for us.
I think every boss, likes to feel like they made a really great decision. A, with hiring you, right? You want them to, but also like, yes, I'm glad we used that software. You're making me look good. We all look good. But you're not just on the miles, you're also saving, those buses are not cheap, are they? So you're taking all those miles off of those buses. Driver shortage, is that an issue?
Yep, so we were in driver shortage and buses were being called out. We reduced the amount of buses being called out. It was all over just a great change. It was a phenomenal change for our district. And me and Alyssa made it happen. It was painful for the first year. We did a lot of hours. We put blood, sweat, and tears for a whole summer. We were doing 90 hours. I was not there to see my kids wake up or go to bed for a whole summer, but it was worth it.
And you went to bat for it. You said, we got to have it.
Yeah. He came to us and said, do you really need this program? And I looked at Alyssa and I said, if he says no, we have to call a meeting because I cannot do this without it. We've built an amazing database and I can't do this job without this program.
That is awesome. And that was her words, by the way. Tony, you were going to say something? You moved your hand. You got to stop moving. You're moving. Go ahead, Alyssa.
I was
Follow
just
up.
going to add on top of what Kayla said, we consolidated routes because we didn't have drivers, but now that we're getting drivers back, it's very easy to expand back out because we didn't delete those old routes. And so we're able to put them back into service really quick, whether we drop or gain buses. So a lot of nice things there.
Yeah, and I should add, I actually shared this in my story for my interview. I found out when we returned from COVID, I found out on Friday at 5:30 p.m. that I had to cut 11 runs starting Monday. So we worked about a 36-hour weekend, and I was able to do that because of the capabilities of Route Finder. I was able to see the duplication, see the spaghetti, unspaghetti it. All of that was just so much more visible, and you could use optimization features, and all of those things just are not available in paper and pen or pins on a map. So I was able to be successful because of Route Finder.
I kind of lost you when you, once you started talking about spaghetti, I just started thinking about spaghetti. And I'm sorry.
I want to piggyback off that real quick.
Yes, please.
She said a key word about using the optimization button. And I heard I could be mistaken, but something about, I think you were talking about getting rid of it, and some people didn't like the button. I love the button. So if that was talked about getting rid of, please don't get rid of optimization, but that wasn't it. Okay, I thought I heard that the other day, and some people said they didn't like the button. I'm thinking I love that button. No, we can't get rid of that. Okay, I just wanted to clear it up now on camera and everything else. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
That's that game of telephone, Tony.
We got it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I love that button.
Any last thought? I want to do a final takeaway, and I'm going to work my way down here with you, Michael, and we're going to end it with Tony. But does anybody else have one last thing that they got to, when they get back to the, I have a feeling you do. You have that look on your face. Anything you want to share about what you want to bring back to the office first day back? Here comes the microphone. I'm giving you 7 seconds.
I have a lot of things running through my head. A lot of small features that, they weren't there when we started, or we just kind of pushed them aside because we were too focused on some other topics. But yeah, too many to list.
That's a good point, though, that things that were added when you started. So things have changed. So it's almost like a doctor, right? You do want the doctor to continue to reading medical journals, right? Yeah. Like if he went to medical school in the 1950s, I'm hoping he's still reading medical journals and realizing there's new technology. Well, that's how it is with Transfinder technology as well. So if you got it, plus, is it a little bit different since 2020? So just a little bit. So anyway.
And last week.
So we are literally 11:57, so it's got to be sort of quick takeaways because we do want to end at noon. But I'm going to start with Michael. Michael, what's one takeaway? And that takeaway could be just to kind of formulate in your head something that you would either want to bring back to your team, say, hey, look this is what we got to do. Something you might want to bring back to your superintendent, school board, something like that. What's one takeaway?
My biggest takeaway that I'll be bringing back to my team is actually the stuff I learned, especially in my consulting class that I went to. I mean, I learned stuff that we need, that was specific questions, and I can go right back to my team now and say, hey, here's, you asked me these questions, or I had these questions, and here's your answer. This is how we got to do it. And it's going to make, just a world of difference. So thank you. And I want to thank Tony and everybody for putting this on and having us out here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Michael. Next up, Jay.
One of the biggest takeaways I really got from this year is just utilizing our tools that we're already invested in, just utilizing them more, getting more out of it, and be able to using the dashboards and the forms to really help us streamline everything, just make everything more efficiency of what we're already doing.
Super, love it. Sandy.
First, I'm going to go back and get my team together, show them all the tricks and tips. Click this button here, do this here to make their jobs more efficient. That can be an immediate change for some people. But mostly I'm going to go back and with the ability of reporting, the reports, building reports, that was a real focus of mine this time. And game changer going back with things I'm going to make reports for.
Very good. Thank you so much, Sandy. Marilyn.
So I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually thank my business manager and my superintendent.
Smart.
For sending me, because I learned so much in such a short period of time. So And then collaborating with my team, showing them everything and just using the full breadth of all the tools like map viewer, boundary planning. I can't tell you how many times I lassoed the same group of kids that are moving from one attendance area to another to give the information to like communications and the schools. And I had the capability of just having it there for me at my fingertips all the time. So frustrating. But I learned, I grow, and I'm going to help my team do that too.
Excellent.
I probably want to do the same thing that Sandy said. The tips and tricks, take it back. Our team we have a great team, but to find a way to go from 4 clicks to 1 click, what we learned this week rather. And I want to take that back right away so we can get better at what we do.
Super. Tony, close us out.
I mean, I have tons to take away. I really have to do one shout out. I hate to just say one individual, but Tuscaloosa, I believe that was a story. Is it Craig, right? About using Wayfinder. You know, and I want to talk about Wayfinder and really the power. And I'm not sure if Craig's here from Tuscaloosa, but and it just popped up. And then you guys have all your own stories. But I remember the story I mentioned this to others that he ended up driving a bus one day, right? You guys do this, and I think he just did it just because he wanted to do it. And maybe I don't have the story correct, so apologize if you're listening to this. But he used Wayfinder, and of course, it was great. You didn't really know the trip, and it's like, wow, this actually worked. We're paying for something that works. And at the last stop, he sees this kid has got the picture, and it's normal stuff. The kid, leaves the bus, and Craig goes, "Hey, Bobby, have a good night." And that kid turned around like, wow, this guy knows my name. And just that simple thing, think about how you could touch these individuals that now the driver could just have that feeling. Because think about how they feel. That kid turned around like he had this smile, this beautiful thing. And think about it. You affect their lives. You're the first thing they see and the last. And think about it. Now that kid, who knows how their house is, what happens at home. But now that kid's a little bit happier. It's going to be a little bit better because all that they did is, "Hi, Bobby, have a good night."
We tend to think sometimes that.
How simple is that?
We think the technology sometimes is cold, and it's like, oh, we don't do face-to-face. But there can be a warm side of technology. And that's the kind of thing that Tony's talking about. Seeing that face, that name, and it's giving you that information, All right, on the screen, I want you to see that there is the top transportation team QR code. I'm hoping you all enter because it's a very competitive process, but you know what? You guys are all like contenders, serious contenders. So I hope you guys are enrolling in that. And I just want to thank our panelists. Give it up for our panelists. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for attending, and really you guys became panelists too. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day and a safe trip home.